Hi guys, welcome back to the production session. Today I want to show you another quick tip about mixing guitars, and I refer specifically to a scenario where you have multiple voices of lead guitar, harmonies that they play together, and it doesn't necessarily have to be some parallel stuff. It could be also different parts that they play. So obviously the first rule is to track them very accurately together, and sometimes it takes more than one take to nail this, but you gotta have the guitars pretty tight with each other. And then when you have that kind of track ready, then you can start looking at the mix and see how you are fitting the mix together and make them sound unified and tight. So we have three tracks here of three different guitars. Let's listen to them as they are. So we can hear three parts. They're, like I said, it's not necessarily parallel. One of them, for example, is doing a little bit of a different part. So let's listen to the first one just separately. And the next one. So these two are parallel, and the third one is going in a bit of a different angle. It's a little bit breaking, and I like that part. It's it has some twist, some interest to it. But if we listen to it again, it's easy to see that they are not sounding very good together. I mean, they are tight, they are tracked together, but they're not sounding good together. And the first reason is that their panning is not exactly straight. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is, some of them are hard panned to the right and to the left. And we need to make sure this is not the case. So I'm gonna drag the automation to the center. Yep, we are at the center. And what about this one? This is completely on the left. So I'm going to drag this one as well. Again, center. And this one, center too. Great. So we are all in the center. Let's listen to it now and see if we improved anything. So this is much better. They just had the automations from before, from other parts, and we need to make sure, first and foremost, that they are either in the center or at least coming from the same direction, because we want them to sound unified. We want them to sound together with each other. So centering, or at least panning to the same direction, is, in my opinion, very important in this kind of part, so that they are all together. Next, let's listen again. Right, so we still spot some differences in volume between the different parts. Sometimes it's desired. In my opinion, in this part, there should be some differences, and I will discuss this in a moment, but in general, they should be pretty much together with each other in the same volume, the same balance. So let's look at the first one. Let's keep this one as a reference. Or better yet, let's give it some arbitrary volume. Let's give it -7.5 dB. Because that's the volume I used in the mix. Sorry, I'm still on panning, my mistake. Let's move this all to volumes. Yeah. All right, so we see some volume automation, which is completely irrelevant. So let's move this, like I said, to -7.5 dB. Okay, so now we have a reference, and from this one we take the others, and it could be that we need to group them later when we mix them with the rest of the track, because as a group they would be louder or too quiet, depends. But for now we are only concentrating on the balance between those voices. So this next voice, the second voice, it's very loud actually. So I'm gonna take it quite a bit down, again in the same area of the minus 7.5 dB. Let's do it again. I sometimes like to start with just single voice and then remove the solo and see how the other parts are coming in with it. So let's start with solo again. Yeah. So this third voice, the one that is kind of behaving differently. Sorry, it's not that. Yeah, so we can hear it's also a little bit different in the EQ. That's okay, that's how I wanted to track it. I wanted to distinguish it a little bit from the others. The others are a bit more, a bit rounder, a bit fatter. This one I wanted it, you know, a bit more swangy kind of, and with high mids and highs on the EQ. So back to the volume issue. Let's see if we are... Yeah, they're totally swallowing it, so we need to raise that volume for sure. And let's do it again. We'll give it minus 7.5. It's always advisable to start with more or less the same volume, and from there we can go on and stress some voices and make others quieter, but they should really be sticking around each other anyway. Sorry, we are on mute, that's why we didn't hear it. Yeah, so we do hear it now. And it, in my opinion, it sounds much better. What I want to do, and that's something I really like to do, it's like playing in the mix, is to stress some notes of some parts. And I mean, the last voice, the third voice, it plays those doo-doo-doo. I want to stress this even more. Sorry, let's start it from here. Yeah, so this, just this part, I'm gonna give it a little notch up on the volume. I think I gave it a little bit too much, but now it's gonna be sounding even more, just this last line. Yeah, and even more, I'm gonna take a notch down so that I have, take the same voice a notch down so that I have this contrast. Yeah, I think we took the last line, the last part of the phrase a little bit too much up, but it's pretty much on the area. I think this is good now. I think we can do one more thing, and that's giving the middle voice, this one, a notch down. Sorry, up. so that we get the middle of the track. It's not gonna make it louder than the top voice, than the treble, because we are not going to hear it as loud anyway. Musically, it's just not working like that. So that's why we can allow ourselves to give a little notch up to the middle voice, to the alto or to the tenor, depends how many voices we have, and that's how we get like this round, full voicing. Yeah, I think this is good now, and let's hear it as it was mixed. Let's get the mix down. So you can hear it was in the background in the final mix. So we took this whole group as we hear it, and we're taking it. I think it was about 5 or 6 dBs down relative to the overall mix, but still between them we hear the voices very clearly, and we hear how each voice is getting its own automation, or at least the ear perceives it that way. Let's hear it again. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to show you, just how to work a little bit with different guitar voices. But this is true really for vocals, for wind instruments, for strings, for anything that you want to work on, which is playing essentially the same part. So yeah, this is the tip for today, and I'll see you next time at the next production session. Till then, bye bye.